Hey folks, well it's been a little while since I've had a chance to do any videos. I'm out in the shop right now and I've actually got some time and some stuff to work on, so let me show you a couple things. Fortunately, I know a lot of you subscribe for my RC stuff. I've got a box right there that came in from Hobby King, and I'm going to be working on something that's going to be used to work on something I already have, but tonight is not an RC night because it's still winter out and I need some firewood. I've got chainsaws there, but I got this from my neighbor and I'm going to see if I can revive it or not. Can you guess what it is? Take a peek. Oh, I'll put you up on the tripod and I'll show you what's in that box and see where I can get to on it tonight. Probably already figured it out, what I was telling you. But let's see what we got. There we go. Alright. Saw the orange, so there you go. Handle of some sort. Yeah, you already know. Got this from my neighbor, got a good price on it, I think, even though if you look at it. It's a Stihl 025 chainsaw. Now that's an older one, and he had rebuilt the engine, but he had problems with the chain oiler on it. The fella at our local Stihl dealership said there was a problem with the piece that wouldn't run the oiler properly and that there needed to be some machining done. So my neighbor just decided that it was going to cost him too much more money than he already had invested. So he just decided to not bother, and he bought a new Stihl chainsaw that was on sale. So got this one for a good price, and he said it ran good, it just wouldn't oil the chain. And I believe him, so he's a good guy. But what I figured, I'd buy it off of him, and if I don't get it running, I can always use the motor for something else. So tonight's plan is to kind of open it up. I don't know if you can see that fuel line in there. She's pretty busted, crusted up, no good. So I got myself a few odds and ends to see what I can do with it. That's what's in this box. So there's the new fuel line, and I got two other things in here. This is an oil feed tube, which I didn't know if I'd need or not, but the piece in question is this thing, and it's actually called a worm. Here's the old one, and this is what drives the oil pump for the chain, and the oil pump is this little guy right here. So, but apparently figured that maybe the chain or the crankshaft was the wrong thing, or I'm not too sure, but it didn't fit right. So we'll take a look and see what we can figure out. First step is to pick up that worm I just dropped. There we go. So there's the new guy, there's the old guy, and they're the same. You can see the spring on here. This one, it's meant to go on there, but it's chewed up a little bit, so we'll see what we can figure out. So far I've got what I paid for it, plus 25 bucks invested. And to buy a new saw, the replacement model of this is a MS250, pretty much the same saw, and they're like 420 bucks new, so figured it's worth trying my luck and seeing if I can seeing what I can do with it. So first thing I'm going to do is work my way through and tear it apart, take the carb off, clean it, and replace this fuel line. Do a little more cleaning in here, but before I do that, I'll just see if she'll start. So let's tear into it. Alright, so let's see what we can do here. I gotta get this whole shroud off, but I think what I'll do is I'll pull this fuel line off, probably break it. No, it didn't break, because I gotta replace that bad boy. And I pulled these two nuts off for the carb. So I want to get that carb off and just pop it apart to clean it. So just look here to see. This whole unit should pop off as well. Doesn't seem to be anything holding it. I think it's just the boot. There's a rubber boot in behind that's kind of like a manifold. Oh no, there is something right there. Looks like it's a piece just like that I have to pop out. Right in here. Easier said than done. It looks like it just snaps in. I'm surprised that it's just a plastic plug that holds that. There we go. Now, you'll have to bear with me. Never taken something like this apart before. But there it is. Of course, it's going to be a bear to get back together again. And this guy should be able to pop that off. There we go. I remember how this all goes back together. I did find a diagram online, which is kind of tricky to do because Stihl doesn't make it easy because they want the dealers to fix everything. So there we go. Lift that up. Should get this carb off now. I don't think there's anything holding it. Just the fuel line's in the way. Because this thing's been sitting for a little while. There we go. It's a Walbro. It's actually a Stihl branded. What number Walbro is it? It's a 215. So there's the fuel line. It sits in there. It's actually popped out of the fuel tank. There you can see the metal plate and the gasket. Not sure if I really need to pull all this apart. But it's a good way to learn how this thing goes together. So I think I need to get this whole top cover off to get the new fuel line in. It's kind of stuck into this hole. So there. Here's the rubber. Be very careful. Here's the manifold I was talking about. Just push that in. I did watch a video a little bit online on these things, so that's why I kind of know what I'm doing. Faking most of it, but I did do a little bit of research. Guy was rebuilding not this saw, but another model. I'm going to use this instead. It's not sharp. I don't know if you can see, but I'm pushing that rubber manifold through. Like so. There. Now, what's left holding this sucker on? Sort of, this looks like a vent line here. Just kind of wrapped around that. I'll let these pull out. Oh, they're screwed in. And it is a Torx. Let's see what I got here in my collection. Let me find the right bits and I'll get this whole shroud off and we'll take a look at the rest of it. Well, I got her apart and I spotted another problem. This is a line that comes out here and it's supposed to go right here, and that's the oh, hold on, I got a phone call coming in. Sorry about that. It's the mayor calling about his computer. But what I was saying is there's a vent line there, and it's buggered up. It goes from, sorry, not a vent line, it's a pulse line that runs the fuel pump. It's a little diaphragm that moves up and down here, and that's what pumps the fuel. And it connects to this point. Now, I would imagine my local dealer has one, but I'm not going to bother because I've got some line that'll work from the RC cars, some yellow stuff, and I'll just use that instead. So I'd like to see if I can get this bad boy running tonight. So now, got this cleaned off. This is an in-tank fuel filter. It wasn't that dirty. So I think, well, let's make sure I use the right fuel line, dummy. They're a lot more flexible. It's a bit of a different line though. You can see it's quite a bit different. Yeah. It says it's a superseded number, so I'm hoping that'll work. Yeah, that was a too small one there. I gotta feed this in to the tank and then grab inside and hook the fuel filter on. It's gonna be finicky, I can just tell right now, but we'll get her. And then snap it down into place. Let's see how we do this. How many 3 fingers and 4 thumbs, 3 hands and 4 thumbs. There it is. Hold that in place. Stick it onto the fuel filter. And this is supposed to line up this little flat spot. I don't know if you can see it. Let me just adjust the camera down a little bit. Maybe even zoom in. I'll zoom it in too. There we go. So you can see there's a flat spot. I know that's supposed to line up with this seam along here. So we'll just pop this in. I don't know what the chances are of me getting her running tonight, but what the heck. I'm not promising anything. The previous owner had actually bought a brand new piston, crank, rod, and the whole 9 yards in order to rebuild it. But I don't know if it's possible. I guess it's possible he bought the wrong rod, or sorry, crank, and that's why the worm wouldn't fit. But we'll see. I'm just going to take some juice here. Heck, might as well clean it. Now I have it apart. Keep some of the dirt out. At least it'll look kind of semi-new for first little bit I use it. So there we go. New fuel line. Now I'm going to figure out what length of impulse line I need. Make sure that was the full length of it. Yeah, it was. So I'm just going to use this as a guide and I'll go get a chunk of this other line, so just hold tight. Alright, here's the stuff I'm talking about. It's Tygon fuel line. It's a little stiffer than this stuff, and but it should work good. And I'm using this instead of the stuff for nitro engine just because it's rated for gasoline. Not that there's any fuel coming out of here, through here, but should do the trick. So let's do that. I'll get some more of that stuff. I actually used it to fix my snowmobile too. Same thing, except I use it for an oil feed line. So there, it's like that. And that'll go up to here, and then it feeds through this hole up there to the carb. And there's a little port on the carb right there, and that's what runs the diaphragm inside. So now got to I'm just gonna fire up the air compressor and blow all the mung out of this before I start reassembling. Alright, got it pretty clean in there, cleaned in the back here too. It's not 100% because I mean it is a used saw. So next step before I start, well I guess I could do a part of the reassembly now. Still have to clean the carb, but this is going to be where I'm going to hold my tongue just right. Let's clean the bottom here. Oh, actually time for a slurp. Just going to have to hold my tongue just right to get this hooked up. And pushed all back together, but we'll get her. That kind of sits down there, These wires come through this hole. Let's see on and off. Gotta figure out where the coil goes yet. The coil is, I don't know, there's like bunch of extra coils and everything here too. But that's down the bottom side. Shouldn't need that. So, I've got to hook this Tygon fuel line up, or impulse line up. It's not as bendy as the, I don't know if is bendy a word? It's not as flexible as the rubber one, but what it should do is actually, maybe I can, no, leave that on, I'm asking for trouble. I'll get her. So, through there, through there. Pull the brake out. Might need a long needle nose pliers. Hold this in place. Push that up. Come on, it should fit. There she goes. There you can kind of see it in there going up and making a connection. Sorry. So now vent line goes up through, I think that's a vent line. I'm not sure. Pull this grommet of wires through. Not sure what year this saw is. It's an older one. Not sure when they quit making the 025 and replaced, well I shouldn't say quit making it, but changed it to a MS250. But a lot of the parts like the piston and the crank and all that are actually the same. So, okay, that's the easy part. Now, gotta carefully pull the rubber intake manifold through. Almost. There she be. Voila. Oh, there's what I was worried about, is getting that piece in there now. Killing my fingers. Come on, come on, come on. There she is. And push it in. Come on. Tools flying everywhere. There it is. Okay. Make sure that impulse line is still hooked up. And it's clearing everything, so sweet. Hook these wires up. This one goes here. It's just like I say, a kill switch. So, and of course I didn't pay attention to how this other one went. I'll figure it out. I might have to bring up the parts diagram. So, yeah, that's ready for the carb. Now, next step is to clean this guy out a little bit. These are for emissions, to keep people from adjusting the carbs. But what I'm going to do is make a note of how many turns each screw is, the high and the low. It should be marked on here, yep, high and low. Clean her off good first. Probably don't need to pull this apart, but you know what? Better to do it now than after I have the saw back together. So I'm going to grab a Sharpie. And before I take the needles out, I'm going to spin them all the way in. I'm just going to write right on here. High and low, and you turn them all the way in. And see how many turns from up all the way in they were. So the low is half, one turn from fully closed. So we'll pull these suckers out. Find an empty bin. Now the high speed is half, one turn as well. That's simple enough. I'll have to tweak it a little bit or look up the specs and see. But pop the high out. High and the low needles are actually identical. I lied, they aren't. They have different threads, so you can't put them in the wrong spots. So then there's this is the idle speed. About 1 1/4. That I didn't really have to take out. I don't know why I bothered, but idle 1.25. There. So now take the top and bottom off. Say these are very straightforward. If any of you run like a Baja or whatever, oh yeah, good thing I did. If you can get that crap in there. So it's a good thing I opened her up to clean her out. It's like sawdust. No big deal. Thing was sitting for quite a while. But as I was saying, if any of you run like a HPI Baja or C-Car or whatever, same idea for those carbs. Except this one doesn't have a, oh, I lie. I was going to say it doesn't have a choke, but of course it has a choke. This is the throttle, this side, and that's the choke. These 4 screws out, and this side is the actual fuel pump side. Gotta be very careful I don't tear anything. Actually no, I lie. This is the fuel pump side. This is the diaphragm. This is kind of like, it's akin to a float. Sorry about that, my memory card filled up. I'm not sure when it filled up, so may have missed a lot of this, but in any case, got the carb all cleaned up. Just gonna clean up this part right here at some point, but there was some mung in there, but I got her all cleared out, so now I'm just gonna put her back together. Just gonna put a rag down for some of these small parts. First thing I'm going to do is the bottom side with the jet or the needle, and the little arm, and the spring. Get a little more here. I might get this back together. There's a red crap on the. Oh, it's a rubber. It's got a rubber tip on it. So now what I need to do is drop this in. Let me zoom you in a little more, maybe you can see better here. There. So the little needle kind of hangs on there. It's always tricky. It sits down like so. Then you have to get this spring underneath and get the screw in and hold it all in place and pray that spring doesn't go flying. So let's see. I've done this a few times. So a little pocket, drop the spring in there, and then the little arm has a little nub that sits on the spring. Anybody out there knows an easier way of doing this, let me know. And slip it underneath there. Fit her all in. Put this screw, just one screw holds the whole works in. Phillips screw. Tighten her down. And there you go. Snug it up tight. And take your diaphragm, and take a bit of a rag, and just a little shot of carb cleaner. Getting low on carb cleaner here. Clean the crap off of there. Be careful not to damage that. You can always buy a carb rebuild kit. It'll come with this diaphragm. And the little tit on there goes in. Push on that little lever. And you take plate. Clean quick. You can see there's a little hole on this plate, and that's to make sure that this back side of this diaphragm is to atmosphere for pressure. There. Putting them all in before I tighten them. Tighten them kind of crisscross pattern. Might get this going tonight if all goes well. There. There. And side is the fuel pump. And it goes this way around. So that fuel pump is where the idle screw is held in place, so can't mess that up. So there, nice clean carb. Put the two needles back in, the high and the low. And thread them all the way down. Don't have to, just so they bottom out. There we go. And it's one turn out. Half, one. Same with the other needle. These little carbs are quick to rebuild. Not much to them. Some of them have little accelerator pumps and that, but they're all pretty straightforward. I see a little bit of crap in there. Clean that all off. Thread her all in. And turn it out half. One. Get the idle screw. The way this idle screw works is it just pushes against your, it's got a pointed tip and it just pushes against your throttle arm. And that was 1 1/4, give or take, so we'll get her close. Half, go 1 1/2. So it might be a little high, but we'll fix it when we get there. Alright, so now I'm going to clean this out. A little bit of compressed air too, because it's full of crud and sawdust. Say this is just I think an extra measure to prevent needles from getting changed, that sort of thing. This fits on there. But you can still put a screwdriver down in there and adjust as needed. So there you go. It's bugging me how this wire, I'm going to zoom you out, how that wire came on, went on and off. This guy right here, it did fit on like that. It's really going to annoy me. Come on folks, how the heck? I think it went like that. Yeah, that's how it went. Sat in there and then that grounds out the coil to stop it. Alright, we're making some progress. Gotta get this seated just right. And slip the carb on. Now this is the throttle doohickey. I'm sure it went like that. And then it snapped onto there, so that's that. And this is the choke. So that choke, excuse me, fit right in there. Fit in there. It would fit on this side. It would fit on that side. And then this carb, bend this down out of the way, slipped on like so. There we go. I think that's right. See if I get, there we go. Make sure I got the right choke action. There's choke. Yep, that's good. Open, off. So that's run, choke, off. And oh, it even blocks the throttle when you have it there. So that's off. Oh, okay. This rotates around. and that's pinches. And, okay, I got her. I got her. I think I got her. It should just snap in there. There we go. So in the run position, this spring's held. There's your throttle. And in the off position, oh, and that works as a bit of a throttle stop. Okay, there's choke. And then that pops off. There's part choke, full choke, and off. Alright. And fuel line. Nice new fuel line. I'm surprised my dealership had it in stock. So, I'm not too sure. That must fit on like there. And let's see, what do I should probably put this on. Might as well clean it first. It's gonna look semi-clean first use, before I get it all dirty with sawdust. So I'll finish bolting this up, and then we'll see if she will start. So I'll be back with attempted starting. All right, folks. Well, it's the moment of truth. We got the power head together. I didn't put any of this together quite right. I just threw this on, so the clutch is on there to give a bit of weight. Sorry. Threw this on, give it a little bit of weight so it doesn't have a runaway, so I can kill it quick. Now I checked for spark. It's got spark. I put some fuel in, some good 50 to 1 Stihl oil premixed premiums. So here goes. Now I haven't started it. I haven't tried or anything, so let's see what she does. It's going to take a few pulls to get fuel up to it. Hopefully. Oh. It's alive! Sweet! Now it's going to need some needle. It's going to need some needle adjustments, but awesome!